Welcome to King Sejong Station, ladies and gents. We have the tense epic music playing, which I really like, and spawning in the top left position as the blue Terran player representing Team Property. We have none other than MorroW. His opponent, spawning as the red Terran, who's incredibly happy. Over here on the bottom right position, representing TeamLiquid.net. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Bunny. Alright. Don't know why my mouse is spazzing out a little bit today, guys. I will look into it after this series, but I'll try not to let it affect me too much. Luckily, middle mouse scroll is the stuff of amazingness, so I don't need to worry too much about that. We do, of course, have that very, very quick gas opening, by the way, coming out of Bunny, in addition to the very quick gas opening coming out of MorroW. So, is it going to be a race to Banshees here on King Sejong Station? If you take a look, by the way, for those of you who see this map less often, or might be playing the current Dream Pool on ladder, go down to the natural. It's actually quite a large straight line distance from the main to the natural. And then you kind of have to walk around the map in order to get to a position where you can basically think about attacking your opponent. So by ground, it's really frustrating. By air, you just swing across right there. And it wouldn't be surprising if we saw Banshee play, especially in this TVT, both sides going up to their factories very, very quickly indeed. Not even scouting each other just yet. Probably guessing what kind of openings that they're going to be using against each other here. And, well, we have got a Reaper from one side, so we are going to be seeing a little bit of the gas from MorroW being used towards a Reaper. This to me suggests that even if he is going for a faster starport, he's certainly not going to be going for Cloak. The second gas on the way now for both players as well. But MorroW basically has 82 gas in the bank, so he's not going to be able to start a starport straight away, whereas we've got it straight away coming out of Bunny. Now, if you look at the position here on these buildings, guys, you can see the tech lab going down on the factory there. Very, very close if, well, to be honest, I'm pretty sure that breaches some sort of official building regulations, but very, very close here. And this tells me that we're going to be seeing a little swap over, and we're going to be seeing a more likely a Banshee and potentially a Raven coming out of this starport very, very soon indeed. So the factory just floating away to allow that to happen. And wow, look at this. What's up, Reaper? Oh, that was sick, sick reaction coming out there from MorroW. These Marines were at the perfect place. And, well, MorroW's getting zero scouting information there. He's not going to be happy with his gas investment in order to be able to see that there are, in fact, a number of Marines inside the main base. Not the most useful bit of scouting. And, oh, we actually have a swap back. We have the factory going back onto the tech lab and producing siege tanks. That's, oh, well, interesting. And also the Hellion just gets in and sees everything. So, you know, that was sick. That was slightly less sick. And it looks like, well, this Hellion's actually doing a decent job so far. We'll be able to see that a siege tank is out on the field, and at this point now we're going, what? What is going on here? This is a little bit confusing. Are we going to see tanks in the medevac? Yes, we are. Tank drops, ladies and gentlemen. Who said we had to wait for Legacy of the Void? Not us! We're going to see it a little bit sooner. In the meantime, after a hefty delay, we are in fact going to be seeing Cloaked Banshees from MorroW. So this is a little bit of a strange game. He's seen that his opponent isn't going for Banshees, and therefore went, okay, it's a bit late, but I should probably go for Banshees myself anyway. And, oh dear, but starting off with the Viking is going to be fantastic news for MorroW, because he's going to be able to harass this medevac. And even though Bunny's going to be able to get some damage done here, the medevac can definitely not scout any high ground vision. That's going to be so, so frustrating for him to have to deal with. The Hellions, oh, needs to be careful. They don't really want to move into range here of the siege tank. And yep, I think he knows exactly what's going on right now. And wow, that boost needed very, very quickly in order to escape. It looks like he's just about gonna, oh, he's not gonna get, is he gonna, no, he's not gonna get away with it, and everything in that medevac falls. We were waiting for the cooldown on that. It was pretty close to being able to use another boost, but Bunny, oh, First blood going to MorroW there. Bunny just taking a massive hit with all the contents of that medevac going down. He has got a Raven back home. He's going to be able to get a decent defensive setup here. Widow Mines on the way. Second command center complete. In fact, both sides have one on the way. Mars is going to complete in just a second. But I think because of the Banshee, he can't really pull that down to the bottom at the moment. It's really difficult for him to be able to maintain that on the bottom. Because at the end of the day, he's just susceptible to Banshee harass and stuff like that. So this Raven, this Viking, they're doing a good job. But they have to consistently do a good job so that mining isn't denied there. And as a result, I think MorroW is going to be able to put down his natural expansion almost immediately. Knowing that this just isn't really a thing at the moment. He's actually got his third command center going as well at the third base. Very, very, to be honest, very early and on location as well from MorroW is just really bold. I think he's doing this because, guys, he basically is map control right now. He knows that with the Banshee out, Bunny has to be a little bit defensive. He also knows that Bunny lost that medevac full of all of those units earlier on. So the combination of those two things means that MorroW goes, well, you know what, I don't think Bunny's moving out anytime soon. Let me try and get a little bit more macro heavy here. And, well, at the moment that seems to be going well. There appears to be a core of lava burning inside this debris right now. This is very much a when your powers combine kind of moment. I don't know what kind of sonic fireball they're producing here, but I really don't want to be around when that gets unleashed. What else is going on? We've got Vikings being made 2 at a time, actually. So air domination is the name of the game here from Bunny. He's saying, right, I'm playing this from a little bit behind. How about I control the air, control the map, and be able to choose when my bio-tank army comes out? I, personally, am actually quite a big fan of this style of play. Will it work here? I don't know. He's currently ahead in terms of workers. He's actually 40 to 38 up right now. But this third base completing and starting to mine is really going to kick in for MorroW very shortly indeed. So, Blue Flame is completing for our Team Property Terran player now. And 3 Hellions at a time are coming in. This is just a really weird game where we kind of started with one thing, went into late Cloak Banshee. We're now going into MMA-esque numbers of Hellions, I want to say. Got at least one supply drop down here for MorroW, wanting to keep his macro up, not wanting to wait in case he gets supply blocked a little bit. And, you know, sometimes that's just necessary. If you're focused on a whole bunch of other stuff and you go, oh dear, I'm about to get supply blocked, sticking a supply drop down rather than a mule can be beneficial. In some all-ins, it's also great as well, to be able to save the minerals in the short term from putting down those supply depots and just absolutely going for it here. But here we go. First clash in the middle of the map, and Hellions see Vikings and go, oh no! So we do need to be a little bit careful there. These tanks, though, are going to be able to absolutely destroy all the Hellions that pop out. Really, we're relying right now on the Cloak Banshee to do something. And, oh dear, we have got point defense drones from both people. This is like the tamest fight. But it looks like it's just about going to be won by Bunny, is it? Is it? Oh, he's actually going... Oh, wow! Okay, so the Raven goes down as well. And the air battle is won by Bunny, but look at this ground army here. These Hellions are actually roasting Marauders, not something you see all the time, and that's because the Cloak Banshee is actually there to support in the background, and those Marines are stimming, they need to get away. A lot of them get roasted right there. That is not the tastiest way to go. Well, it might be tasty way to go, but it's certainly not the most pleasant, I can tell you that. And repairing a couple of Vikings now is MorroW, and he's saying, well, I got the Raven. I've got my 3 bases up. My opponent's still on 2 bases. I feel like I'm doing well here. He's up to 113 supply versus 92. The ball is firmly in MorroW's court. He's also ahead in workers, 57 versus 51. Being able to drop those mules at the 3rd base so early on is just very useful for him. And Bunny is only now just floating his orbital command over to his 3rd location. So, a very, very late 3rd compared to our Team Property Terran player. And, is this going to come back to bite him? I mean, he's currently about 15 supply down, but this has just been mining so long that I feel like MorroW might be able to take advantage. What is the upgrade situation like? Well, the bio is +1 attack, and MorroW has +1 attack on his vehicle weapons. So it's definitely a bio versus mech kind of play here, although Bunny is going for an armory himself, it's worth knowing. So it's bio tank versus a significant mech composition. And I feel like the addition of this Cloak Banshee, this little guy here, guys, in so many cases can make or break the game. You can just have a... That's why I'm really concerned for MorroW right now. He's moving this Banshee out. Yeah, he's going to be able to take the Watchtower. That's really cool. Might even do a bit of harassment. But if he loses that, then in the middle of some big, scary engagement over here in the middle of the map or somewhere, the difference of a Cloak Banshee sort of hitting away at a tank line or something could actually make the difference between winning or losing a battle. So that Banshee, he just needs to be very, very careful about it, in my opinion. And MorroW is now controlling both Watchtowers, one with a Hellion and one with a Hellbat. I'm not sure if there's any significance to that, but I suspect not, as Bunny now moves out with a Bio-Army. He's at 150 supply versus 165 right now. +2 attack on the way, and more Hellbats on the way as well for MorroW. And the Sensor Tower actually at the natural expansion, keeping an eye on his opponent as well. That is a lot of stuff coming out the back. And, oh, I don't know about this, man. Dude, I think you are operating in a hazardous zone. I do not approve of this building. Says this Marauder, but definitely says all of us at home. And, okay, good, he does manage to cancel that in time. I was a little bit concerned. And to pay for your crimes, well, that, I'm not going to lie, that at least went quickly. That probably was at least almost painless. And, you know, I think that's got to count for something. Rock Tower, Rock Tower. No, okay. Turn around and kill it. Oh, looks like both players had the same idea. So, never mind. He could kill this off if he wanted to, but he could just go around and attack the natural expansion. And if tanks are sieged up here, this could be troublesome. I think Bunny might be going for a counterattack. Yep, he sees this as well, and now MorroW has to make a choice. He's like, am I going to counterattack? I think he's just going to siege these tanks up and just try and produce as many units as possible to defend the natural, because now we're going to get inside the natural expansion. And we have, well, 4 Hellbats in here, so he could be dropping the main base at the same time. This base goes down. That's fine so far. These units currently getting roasted. MorroW doing a good job defending with these Hellbats and the siege tank. He's got a decent amount here, and that drop gets cleaned up. This siege tank actually is an endangered species. That's going to get cleaned up as well. There is another siege tank on the high ground. Obviously not enough to kill off this bio, but it's a question of how efficient Bunny is with this trade. This mech army, oh, needs to control that and get it up the ramp there. He's being very ineffective with it right now. There we go. MorroW is up the ramp. The third base is getting pulled away. The SCVs have been pulled away too, though. So it looks like MorroW is fully prepared for this base race. Oh, and look at this. These tanks on the high ground. I mean, that could actually end up making the difference here. So much of this production is going down right now. And, well, everything's getting lifted, but there are Vikings with this army, so I don't know how effective that's going to be. And really, I think we should just be sending a small force down here to try and pick this off right now. These Vikings are actually doing a great job, and we've actually got Banshees with this as well. So Bunny trying to use air superiority against the mech army to actually defeat it right now. And it looks like the Banshees will eventually win the day here. MorroW's using this army by the looks of things just to kill off as many buildings as possible. A fusion core even out there. Have we got... No, we don't have a battle cruiser on the field. That makes me sad. This army now is just kind of wandering around. The main base is very much solid for MorroW right now, and he might be able to move out again and reclaim this base, for example, with the help of some siege tanks. I think that might be what he's looking to do. In the meantime, this mech army is slowly falling to bits, and actually Bunny now, I think, has the edge. Remember how earlier, guys, in the middle of the map I said the difference a Banshee makes could actually cost one side the game? This might end up being the case here, where Bunny is able to win the game. Lifts all his buildings, says, I'm just going to win this battle in the air. You can kill as much as you want on the ground in the meantime, but I'm just going to try and win this with air superiority. Well, yes, 16 workers have just been killed. In fact, if we take a look overall, it's 63 workers killed versus 34. It's been a slugfest, this game. But Bunny is now ahead by just over 10 supply. The army supplies at the moment are 68 to 42 in favor of Bunny. And I'll tell you what, man, when you're in sub 100 supply, a mech army is a lot more difficult to reproduce than a bio army here. And I feel like Bunny made the right choice in counterattacking when he saw the mech army at his doorstep. And he said, right, I'm not going to win this on the ground. I probably am not going to win this if I get siege tanks up even. So I need to win this in the air. I need to get the Banshees in. I need to get the Vikings in. And as soon as I kill off the Vikings, in comes the 2 Banshees and I am home free. And that's exactly what he did. Great execution there from Bunny. And now, well, the game's not over for sure, but MorroW is in a frustrating position now. He kind of wants to get up to something like 150 supply. I don't know. It's going to be really difficult for him to kind of move out sub 130, 140 supply with the mech army. I just feel like bits of it can be picked off by marauders and stuff like that, and it's just nowhere near as effective. And Bunny at the moment, he's got 2-2 complete as well for his bio, and he's starting to mine a lot too. I mean, if we take a look, there's only one player mining gas at the moment, admittedly, and that's MorroW. But the mineral count is definitely in favor of Bunny right now. And he's got this space up and mining now as well, which he can sort of move some more workers to. His natural expansion still has some number of minerals that might be worth mining from as well. So could always consider that. But I like that he's actually mining out the base further away from him first. So as a contingency plan, if they both have another crazy scenario, he can fall back on this at least for a little while. This bio army is looking scary, but these medevacs, in my opinion, should have been repaired. If he loses two of them very early on at the start of an engagement, that's seriously going to hurt because it's really going to affect his ability to stim in these transitions, which, well, that would kind of suck. But hopefully he's able to rectify that in time for a fight occurring here. So we've had to be honest, a pretty sick game so far. And there's no telling who's actually going to end up winning this. Oh my god, well that Marine certainly had ideas. I don't know if you guys saw, but that limb basically flew about 100 feet into the air and then splat. I love the physics. I want more! I want more explosions! It looks like we're actually just settling down. We're not going to get any more for a while. 34 versus 30 work supply is still in favor of MorroW. But the bio army now, I mean, if you look at the supplies, 131 to 91, it's a 40 supply lead. And the reason for that is the infrastructure and the speed at which this army can build here for Bunny is more mineral heavy, it's less gas heavy, and he can build it faster as well. MorroW, you can see, currently has no gas. He's stuck on 94 supply. His army is very scary, but it takes forever to actually get out. And I feel like, I don't know, if I were Bunny right now, I feel like a drop in the main plus a mass attack or a mass drop over at the third will kill off at least one base. I really do feel like that. And we've got the mini Sky Terran army coming out now. It's going to be moving up here. And, well, MorroW definitely sees it. And, oh, Thors plus turrets equals no good. Did anyone say Sky Terran? Say goodbye to Sky Terran. We've even got two Vikings here to mop up if he needs to. But that's because this army here is saying, yo, dude, what's up? And we're actually going down... Ooh, is MorroW going to have fewer SCVs now? No, it's actually still 32 versus 30, and that's because we have some counter-attacking damage here done by the Hellions. We've got the Marauders here to clean it up. But this command center, this orbital command is going to go down, which is pretty big here. So even though our workers have been killed, it's 31 to 27 workers in favor of MorroW. But we've got this orbital command still here, we've got this orbital command still here, and we have this one now becoming an orbital command, whereas there were just two bases with the third starting to be constructed now from MorroW. So I feel like that little skirmish advantage Bunny just a little bit here. We now have some more Hellions moving in. I suspect they'll be moving in towards this side of the world very, very shortly indeed. Do we have an army? We do have an army. 3 Marauders and a bunch of Marines. And, oh goodness, needs to watch out. Oh, leaving only a single Hellion to mop up. I like that style. Just not wanting to risk accidentally running into an army here. So the other 4 are going to be heading home. And this base is adequately defended. This base no longer exists right now. So if we take a look at the income situation, guys. Now, Bunny is, well, actually, it's quite neck and neck in terms of minerals. And MorroW's still mining more gas. But Bunny, somehow, he's still 35 supply ahead. So that extra command center might come in handy very, very shortly indeed. Are we going to see a replacement there? Probably not. Are we going to see a replacement there? I think it's probably worth a shout. We'll see when he ends up getting enough minerals to do that, though. Another Hellion gets picked apart in the middle of the map. Supplies now 147 to 99, and Bunny's looking for a fight. He wants to trade off as much of this as possible because he doesn't want to have to deal with an endgame huge maxed out mech army. That's just so difficult for a Bio-Terran to deal with. But it's a lot less difficult when it's only on 100 supply and you're able just to consistently trade away. So he wants to do that sooner rather than later. SCV's having a party over here. New command center going down, which is fair enough. 5 Marauders and a Marine now being produced at a time for Bunny. He's gathering a lot of forces over here to the right hand side to possibly just deny once again this third base, and we have another command center coming in for a fourth as well. Bunny isn't being as active on the map as I think he could be right now, and I think for that reason, MorroW is slowly trying to get back into this game. He's gone up to 110 supply. I mean, when I say trying to get back into this game, guys, I don't mean he's in a losing position or anything, but just because it's mech, it just takes so much more before you can actually move out and say this is fine. Oh, nice tank sieging at the very, very crucial time there for him. He's going to want to move some tanks to over this position so he can cover off this space, and then perhaps move the rest of his forces to kind of here to cover that off as well, and ask Bunny, what are you going to be doing about my mining bases? And I get the impression now that this mass command center, while sieging up with his tank strategy, is really what's going to buy MorroW the time he needs to get to a decent army composition. You can see Bunny just moving along the periphery here, going, well, hang on a second, where can I find an opening where I can exploit my opponent? And am I going to be able to come up here? Well, these sieging tanks say, mate, you're going to have to take a lot of losses if you want to try that. And, oh, is he going to try? Yeah, wow, he's stimming up right now. We even have Hellbats here. I mean, it looks like he's going to be able to kill those two off. There are still 3 tanks in the back, though. Is this orbital command going to go down? Actually, almost certainly. But all of the medevacs are down now. This army is a little bit overstimmed, and that siege tank is doing so much damage. Like, every bit of damage from the mech army is actually just doing so much right now. He does need to send an army into here, and I'll be so impressed if he manages to pick off this orbital as well. That could end up being huge. But look at how low this army is, guys. This is a good amount of damage done by Bunny, but he hasn't really killed off much of the mech. We'll see if that ends up being useful in the long run, though, because any supply he can whittle down is good supply right now. It's 79 versus 140. I feel like even though this isn't 100% as efficient as Bunny could have been, it's still getting him a bigger lead in this game because he's got this command center up here now, because this has been mining for quite a long time, and this, aside from the first wave of Hellions, hasn't really been troubled. Still kind of want to see another base there, but to be honest, this more than makes up for it, so I'm not that bothered by it. We have gone up to 3-2 on the vehicle upgrades, though, now for MorroW. He is mining out of this base in the middle of the map now, and Bunny has been finding openings, but he's mainly been finding openings in the economy. The army size itself is 101 to 58, but when your 58 army supply has a lot of tanks in it, you can go through a bio army very quickly indeed. I think it means, though, that if Bunny takes 1 good engagement, he can win the game, and MorroW probably has to take 2 good engagements, but it's still possible with that mech army. We're stimming in now. A lot of tanks here, actually, and this bio army, it's getting lower and lower, but he's now starting to kill off the tanks. Only a couple of Marauders left. That tank goes down. With +3 attack, they would have been able to kill it even faster, and +3 attack from the tanks actually did a lot of damage there. And once again, trading off his army. Now, that time round, I have to say, MorroW's tanks killed so many units, but he did lose nearly all of his tanks. And I think with only 4 tanks left on the field, MorroW is going to now struggle. So Bunny's just continuously trading, saying, actually, I need to take these bases. I need to try and get into a position where I just have the upper hand in terms of economy. And then I need to constantly trade. And that's what he's doing right now. If we take a look at the income once again, Bunny is now comfortably ahead, guys. Before it was neck and neck. We've seen this 2 or 3 times this game. And we're now in a situation where, guess what? It sure ain't. So this is pretty exciting times here. Still in the round of 8, of course, of the NorCraft Cup. We'll be going into the semi-finals after this. Big explosions from those siege tanks, and this bio army is less this time. There are fewer units here, and we've also got Hellbats here, actually, from MorroW to back it up, in addition to the tank fire, so he does have to be careful. And wow, look how quickly, guys, the tanks basically destroy that bio army. This is why the power of mech can be so effective against a bio army. MorroW now 40 supply behind. He was up to 70 supply behind at one point, so he's slowly catching up now. And he's got 3-2 Hellbats, 3-2 Hellions, 3-2 tanks, with Vikings to back this up as well. So not all is lost. Can he come back, though? I don't know. It's a pretty tricky situation to be in right now. Both sides being very passive. Bunny just needs to look for openings, needs to look for places to trade. And that's what... Well, he split his army in 2 for now. He's going to desperately try and spot somewhere he can do some damage, but the planetary fortress isn't really the place you want to be doing that. So who are you guys rooting for in the chat? Let me know. This is, of course, sponsored and being broadcast on Hitbox.tv. So thank you very much, Hitbox, for providing us the platform from which we can execute this tournament here, as well as Cooler Master Nordics. Okay, we have another attack coming into the former, I suppose, natural expansion. Once again, just a single tank here, so potentially able to get up on top of the production lines, and MorroW being forced to pull back. Now, this army is big enough to kill off the bio if he sieges up those tanks, but just picking off an orbital command and getting out just like he did last time. So Bunny doing more and more small bits of damage. He's actually back up to 198 supply now, guys. So he's getting very, very close to not being able to produce more units and just having to constantly trade a little bit more frequently than before. And at that point, we're going to see one of two things. We're going to see MorroW even up the supplies very quickly, because Bunny takes a bad engagement, or we're going to see Bunny multiply his advantage and absolutely stomp through if he gets the right engagement at the right time. So all very tense here. Bunny now starting to build up a bank. He's got 1,000 minerals and 600 gas. That's great for him. He's also moving out towards this base on the right-hand side. It is a planetary fortress. There are tanks to back it up. The rest of the army's here as well, and he's got battle cruisers here. Oh my god! What is going on? I don't even. Yamato cannon against two of the Vikings. And I'll tell you what, guys. MorroW was not expecting this. We've got SCVs trying to put up turrets as quickly as possible, but the third battle cruiser here. So remember that fusion core that was in the base a while ago? Well, that might have been a telltale sign. And the BC transition is actually going to kill off a planetary fortress here. In the meantime, we have another drop inside the main base. It's going to be enough. That element of surprise was good enough to win Liquid Bunny game number 1 after 38 minutes of play. He goes 1-0 up in this round of 8 match of the NorCraft Cup.